recording. Hi, everybody. It looks like I'm on. How you? So today we're working on a picture of the other guy from the Serfs, who I've kindly renamed. I don't know what his original name is, but I renamed him Clean-Shaven McChin-Chin. Because yesterday I did a picture of Beardy. I'm sorry, Hattie McBeardy. I know their names. I know them better than you. Uh, Give me a second here. Come on, iTunes. There you go. I was going to play a little bit of Burial Grid. Get things going. This is the first album, Where We Go, which is fantastic. And let me get the chat window set up here. Oh, wrong button. This one. Come on. I just saw me flash it across the screen. I realized yesterday's I kind of forgot to reset my my pen setting. It was set for Dora, and instead I was working a lot finer than my Dora setting should be at. So I suppose the lines were a little thicker than I wanted them to be, but that's okay. Alright, now I can pop this sucker out. Pop out chat. Why did I draw that line without... There it goes. Alright. There we go. So I probably told this story yesterday. I've only recently discovered the Serfs. So I've been kind of going through some of their back catalog and whatnot, which is super cool. And I don't know who's who. So I I asked him, you know, like, what's your names? Because I just call you Hattie McBeardy and Clean-Shaven McChin-Chin. And they responded, that's our names now. So, there we go. I'll make it a thing, man. Alright. Boop, 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 boop. Ah, I have cool stuff on my mind. If you're wondering why I'm a little quiet today, but I can't talk about it. So, having a hard time trying to come up with other stuff to talk about. Maybe I should tell another story, an actually long story. Uh, uh, can't think of one. I don't know. Maybe I'll go to one of my oldies. So the Serfs are from Canada, and I absolutely love Toronto, which is the area they're from. I understand. Um, which is a pretty big area. I mean, Toronto is a major city. Americans don't realize that how big the Toronto area is. It's like, but it's also not that big too. It's really weird. But I mean, New York's a bit like that too. That's just because there's so many like little sections of New York. Toronto has lots of little sections, but not quite as big as New York is. One of my favorite things, and this is going to come important later. Uh, Toronto, you know, Canada in general is only recently, and by recently I mean the 1970s, opened up immigration. So up until the 1970s, it was a very uh, anglophone, is the correct word, country. And then whenever Pierre Trudeau, father of Justin Trudeau, opened up immigration, um, you know, you got people from all around the world who finally came in. And so Toronto is filled with, you know, immigrant communities. So, like, their Chinatown um, is great because it actually is. That's Chinatown, baby. You know, good food and whatnot. You know, it's authentic. Um, you know, so is their Greek town and whatnot. So, anyways, I went to Toronto because I was a fan of a band called Moxie Fruvis. Now, the Canadians in the audience are now laughing at me. Moxie Fruvis was kind of a novelty band, who then became a glam folk band, but they only remember them for their novelty hits, like King of Spain. My Baby Loves a Bunch of Authors. and kind of rejected them whenever they dropped a really good, dark banjo-driven album for their follow-up, all about like broken relationships, and not one reference to a. So I can do that. Excuse me, to obscure 20th century authors. Anyways, so I was in Toronto to see some shows, and I had my car up there, and I was driving along, and I turned down what I thought was a 4-lane road, and next thing I know, I see a wall of headlights facing me. And that's when I realized, oh, this isn't a 4-lane road. This is an 8-lane road, and I picked the wrong 4 lanes. So I pop my car in reverse, slam on the gas, and I'm going like 35 miles an hour in reverse, trying not to get hit by these guys because I'm an idiot. I get to the end of the section of the road, and I spin my car 360 degrees into the right lane. Do not ever ask me to do that trick again. That was like, luck and adrenaline that made me do this. Like around the monuments and whatnot, smoke coming off the tires. It was really impressive. So believe it or not, the next day my car wouldn't start. Now, fortunately, I had AAA. And I went into a payphone, because this is the early 2000s. And called the number. And somebody answered the phone, going, CAA. And I hung up the phone. So I'm just like, no, I was calling AAA, not CAA. What's CAA? Must have dialed it wrong. Dialed the number again. CAA. Like, I'm calling for AAA? Are you an American A? Like, yeah? Like, oh, in Canada, it's Canadian Auto, whatever. I forget what the A stand for. Auto Association, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, is there a problem? I'm like, yeah, my car won't start. Like, no problem, eh? We'll get somebody right down to you. Do you have a preference where to go? I'm like, dude, no. I'm from America. Like, if it's good, I'm happy. He's like, no problem, eh? We'll get you taken care of, buddy. So my car gets towed, and they tow me to Greektown. And so at this point, it's like 4 in the morning by the time I get there. I am exhausted. Because, I just, it was like, what, night 2? Or was that night 3? I can't remember. Of seeing, the same band perform at Lee's Palace. Lee's, give it up for Lee's. So, anyways, I get there, and the guy working there, he's he's Greek, and he's just like, how you doing, buddy? Just like that. What's your name, buddy? It was quite a character. It's like he ended everything, buddy. Like, what is the problem with your car, buddy? Like, no problem. We take care of you, buddy. No, they were absolutely fantastic over there at the place I was towed to. They even let me crash on their couch for a little bit because it was a 24-hour towing place, and I'm just like, ah, because I didn't quite know what was going on, like what the problem was. Apparently, I burnt out a solenoid. They had to order the part. I had to spend some extra time there. One of my friends let me kind of ran out of time at the and money at the youth hostel. One of my friends let me crash on their hotel room floor for a night, but then they were leaving. So the next day, I come out of the hotel room. Now I have my sleeping bag with me, my bedroll, my duffel bag on my shoulder, and I'm wearing a salt-covered leather trench coat. Because, it's the early 2000s. That's what you did back then. And I haven't shaved in like a week. Probably looked a bit like a hot mess. So around the corner, and there was the tallest Canadian hobo I have ever seen. Dude was like, I don't know, 6'8", hollow cheeks, hungry eyes. And he said something to me in Canadian. You slipped through here too, eh? And it took me a while to figure out what he said. And I just started nodding. Yes, because I thought he was going to eat me. And he's like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear about that, eh? Where are you from, eh? And we're like, Massachusetts. Please don't eat me, Mr. Canadian Hobo Guy. He's like, oh man, were you here on vacation, eh? I'm starting to relax a little bit. I mean, dude seems kind of cool. And I'm like, when you're drawing, the Serfs. Alright, let's go down to the eraser here. The eye there. Always these subtle things like this that really makes these things pop. Let's see here. So, I don't know why I'm inking Clean-Shaven McChin-Chin here when I have a perfectly good AC Slater to be inking. Other than the fact that, this will be a quick one. Hey, I'm back. I don't know what happened. I hate that. Alright. The lesson is help Canadian people. We're on the street because they're really nice. They give. I actually needed that $2. I was a little broke at the moment, and that got me to eat at the Pizza. And again, Canadians are laughing at me. Stuff is nasty. But they eat it out of, like, the curious disgust. At least, they were prepared. I wasn't. It was edible. I'm sure if you're drunk, it's probably pretty good. Is that how Pizza stays in business? It's like all their customers are drunk. The funny thing is these guys are from Maryland, and Maryland does not have a lot of good pizza places. Now, there are parts of Maryland where you can get some good pizza. Oh, yep, a cat. Well, we don't have her life before we adopted her. She was a stray. Alright. I think that looks pretty good. I just might end up overworking Clean-Shaven McChin-Chin here. Alright, y'all. That means I'm going to wrap this thing up. It's because of the size of everything. Well, again, I should bump down the size of the pencil. Oh well, whatever. Alright, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, see, Kim is here. Hey. Yeah, I was keeping this short. I got a conference call in a bit, buddy. That I kind of got to get myself ready for. So I was keeping this one short, but I want to kind of get myself warmed up because I need to be on my A game later. I'm not nervous, but I'm going to be nervous afterwards because that's how it usually works. But it's a pretty big deal, man. So I can't talk about any of it. But I am very excited. Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for stopping by, my friend. We'll have to chat at some point because yeah, and stuff. I don't know if you heard my whole story about how I got money from a homeless person in Toronto, but I told that story while I was